Welcome to Skintimacy Conversations, a sacred space where skincare is sensual and intimacy unveils spiritual truths. I'm your host, Cherrelle. I'm inviting you to pause, to peel back the layers, and meet yourself beneath your skin surface. I would like for you guys to take a mantra moment with me. Close your eyes if you can. Slow down, and let's have a moment with ourselves. Here, we speak softly to our skin and listen deeply to our spiritual realm. We honor our glow and the grit of life as it brings gorgeous transitions in between each stage. This is your ritual, your return. This is your reminder. You are worthy of softness inside and out. Take a deep breath and exhale. Come closer and let's get skintimate. Hey Pookies, happy Thursday. If you are new to the podcast, welcome. If you are returning or a returning listener, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I hope you all are ready for today's episode, Cleanse to Connect, the power of facial and spiritual cleansing. Now, as some of you know, and some of you may not know, I am a licensed esthetician. So my day trade is me basically helping every one of my clients formulate regimens that fit their skin type or their skin condition or skin concern. So there's a lot of thought process that goes into curating a regimen for my clients because I ultimately want them to reach their skin goal. And in order to do that, we have to have the right products with the right treatments and the right lifestyle changes, which includes dietary, exercising, cutting out some of those unhealthy habits that actually contribute to skin conditions or skin health. So what I usually tell my clients, if they are just inquiring or wanting to do a consultation, most of the time they're asking me, so what all do I need for my skin? Okay, you guys. So listen, let's not make this complicated. It doesn't have to be, but at the bare minimum, I tell any given person, for your skincare routine, you need 6 steps or 6 items to create an effective skincare routine. You need an awesome cleanser that's dedicated to your skin or skin type or skin issue that you're trying to address. A good toner. This creates a good clean slate. Even though you're cleansing your skin, you want to make sure you don't have any residue left. So you want to get good toner that's going to take away any residue, but also add to what we're trying to do with your skin. A lot of the times, I'm usually using a moisturizing toner for my clients and for myself. I love a good moisturizing toner because it adds hydration, but it also gets rid of any residue I may have left on my skin. Hydration. With that, I always recommend like a hyaluronic acid-based serum. Hydration, hydration, hydration. Our skin needs hydration and moisture, or oil-based moisture, because our skin is made up of both water and oil. So at the bare minimum of a skincare regimen, you need to make sure you're addressing these pieces of your skin. So hydration, protection, meaning a good vitamin C. It's a good vitamin C serum has great antioxidant properties. So it protects your skin from any sun damage. Pairing the vitamin C with a good sunscreen is great for an anti-aging prevention part of your treatment plan. And moisture. So vitamin C, but after the vitamin C, a good moisturizer. It can be a lightweight one or a heavyweight one, depending on what your issues are. And then the sunscreen following the good moisturizer. Or if you're a girly who don't like a lot of heavy stuff, especially during the summertime, your sunscreen can double as your moisturizer. I don't want to get too deep into those different steps or different items because today we're covering cleansing, but in subsequent episodes, we will go deeper into those different steps of a skincare regimen so you guys can understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how to shop properly for your skin and your skincare regimen. I didn't talk about one part that I absolutely love to have in my regimen because I'm trying to keep this simple, but I love a good exfoliation. We'll talk about it later. I don't want to get too deep. I don't want to get too off subject. But starting with today, you need a good cleanser. One more thing I forgot to mention about the toner is that not only does it help remove any residue, but it actually adjusts the pH of the skin. Water can sometimes cause the pH to change a little bit. So the toner itself will get the pH back down to where it needs to be so that the skin can absorb the remaining products of your regimen. Okay, you guys, so let's get into the meat of today's episode. As stated in the title of the episode, Cleanse to Connect, the power of facial and spiritual cleansing. So, of course, we're going to talk about cleansing itself. But I don't think you guys truly realize the importance of having a good cleanser for your face and a good cleanser for your spiritual realm. I think people overlook this step a bit much. But I want you guys to be a little more intentional about your skincare regimen. That's what my job is to inform you and guide you on having a little more intent with your day-to-day self-care regimens, not just for your skin, but also for your spiritual well-being. So I know a lot of you are faithful with doing your skincare regimen, but are you intentional? Meaning, do you truly understand why you are cleansing and the science behind it? Washing your face and body is perhaps the most underrated part of your skincare regimen. Your skin accumulates dirt, grime, dead skin cells, sweat, and sebum throughout the day. Consider the number of times you touch your face or the number of times you're outside and you're exposed to environmental pollutants. Long-term accumulation and environmental exposure, including the sun, not only make your skin grubby, it will inevitably add to your overall aging. Proper facial cleansing is your first line of defense in skin health and anti-aging or aging prevention. It removes dirt, oil, and environmental stressors that can clog pores, and age the skin prematurely. Sorry, y'all. When I'm talking, I have to realize that I have to slow down and enunciate my words. Okay, you guys, so the science behind a cleanser. I absolutely love understanding why something is working. Hence, while I'm in school for cosmetic chemistry. Okay, so the main cleansing component of a cleanser, whether it be soap, gel, oil, or foam cleanser, is its surfactants. A cleanser has something called surfactants, aka surface active agents, which have a unique structure with both a hydrophilic, which is water-loving, head, and a lipophilic tail, which means it's oil-loving. Okay, so kind of revamp. A cleanser has something called surfactants. A surfactant is it gives the cleansing power to a cleanser. Okay. A surfactant has a water-loving head, which makes it hydrophilic, and an oil-loving tail, which makes it lipophilic. So basically what happens is when we apply a cleanser to our face or to our body, these surfactants interact with the surface of our skin, which has dirt, grime, sweat, and all the things we have accumulated through the day. The surfactant attaches itself to the dirt and the grime and the dead skin, and then is washed away with water. Okay, so I'm trying to give you a visual. So basically, as we're rubbing the soap into our skin, we're creating surface tension and all that, so that the surfactant could attach itself to the soap. Can attach itself to the dirt, and then the water washes it away. So the oil-loving tail of the surfactant attaches itself to the dirt, which is oil-based, and then the head of the surfactant, which is water-based, is pulled away by the water that's running in the shower or in the tub or wherever you're bathing or washing your face. While the science of a surfactant is pretty straightforward, picking the right cleanser with the right surfactant can be a bit challenging for beginners. But just a reference point, the ideal surfactant would only interact with the dirt and the grime while leaving the outer skin barrier intact, meaning it's not going to cause any disruption in your skin barrier, which can make you sensitive and also can dry you out. So a lot of times people think if you have this squeaky clean feeling that you're supposed to have that and your skin is clean. It's clean, but you probably just stripped a little bit of your barrier off because a surfactant should not leave your skin feeling like squeaky clean, like, you know what I'm talking about. I've had those type of cleansers before, and eventually my skin started getting irritated because the barrier had been disrupted. So I tell people all the time, when you're picking a cleanser, just be mindful of the surfactant. I know that's a lot to think about as a consumer, but I'm trying to help you, okay? Because some people can afford to come to an esthetician, so I'm trying to give you some information to take with you. So 3 things that I find to be important for a surfactant / cleanser. Check the surfactants. Understand what it is, what it's doing, and the level of the surfactant. That's a lot, but just something for you to kind of think about in your spare time. Do some research. Google is great. Some of the common surfactants I've seen used are the cocoa glucoside and cocamidopropyl betaine. Cocamidopropyl betaine. Y'all, bear with me with these scientific words, but you may see it as cocoa betaine. So cocamidopropyl betaine. Jesus. Okay, I don't know who the hell came up with these names, but those are some of the common ones you'll see. Okay, I'm trying to help you decode the ingredient list of your damn product. So check it for the right surfactant. And I can actually list some on my Instagram and tell you what category they fall in and figure out if it's the one that works best for you and your skin type. But anyway, top 3. Check the surfactant. 1, check your pH. The pH of your product absolutely matters. Our skin naturally sits around 5.5 on the pH scale. So the pH scale ranges from 1 to 14. The lower levels being more acidic, the higher numbers or higher levels being more alkaline. So our skin tends to be more on the acidic side. So our skin lands around 5.5. So it's important to check the pH of your products to make sure they are around that same pH. If not, if they are higher, they can become stripping. Acids below 5.5 can be beneficial in the right setting. And we'll get into that a bit later as we compare the difference between enzyme peels, chemical peels, and different acids that we can use to help with skin cell renewal, anti-aging, and all the good stuff. We'll get into that later, but right now we're keeping it simple. So check the pH of your product. And 3, boost the cleansing potential, meaning get the best out of your cleansing regimen. So I always double cleanse. What I mean by double cleansing is you can either 1, double cleanse with the same cleanser you have, meaning cleanse once for 60 seconds. Okay, wash off, cleanse twice for 60 seconds. Or for me, I use an oil-based cleanser first to remove makeup, dirt, or dead skin or anything like that off my face. And then I go in with a quote unquote active cleanser. Sometimes I like to use a mandelic acid cleanser. I really like the properties of mandelic acid. And again, we'll get into that later. But 2 of my most favorite cleansers, the Vitamin Veil Oil Cleanser from Circadia and the Mandelic Cleanser from Face Reality. They are both listed on my website. So shop houseofskinaesthetics.com. Okay, so here are some of my recommendations for specific skin types. We have our oily guys and gals, we have our dry guys and gals, and then we have our sensitive guys and gals. Okay, so for oily guys and gals, look for a gel-based cleanser. This creates more of a foamy effect on the skin, and so hence removing more of the excess oil and dirt. But what you don't want to do is have a cleanser that gives you that squeaky cleanse feeling, because at that point, we don't want to remove too much of the oil, which can affect the skin barrier, which can really throw the skin into an uproar where it's trying to figure out what it needs to do. And it could, in turn, produce more oil to make up for the extra oil you're taking out of it, if that makes sense. So only guys and gals, look for a gel-based cleanser that doesn't cleanse too much, if that makes sense. For my dry guys and gals, I highly recommend an oil-based cleanser, which I mentioned earlier. I love the one from Circadia, the Vitamin Veil oil cleanser, or a hydrating creamy cleanser. One that I really like is the Barrier Balance Cleanser from Face Reality. Love those two. My clients have raved about both. They're really good if you have dry skin. I tend to be a dry to normal girl, so I like both of those, and they help keep my skin balanced throughout the winter, spring, summer, and fall. For my sensitive guys and gals, I recommend a safe starting point is with a fragrance-free, non-foamy, creamy cleanser. Again, the foaminess of a cleanser makes it more cleansing, if that makes sense. So again, different surfactants do different things. So with a surfactant that causes more of a foamy cleanse, that's doing more aggressive cleansing, if that makes sense. For my sensitive folks, I recommend you stay away from that and get more of a non-foaming, fragrance-free, creamy cleanser. Yeah, I hope that makes sense for you guys. Now listen, some of this is not concrete, okay? Because we age and we change, and things that used to work may not work. So we have to meet our skin where it's at in this particular stage of our life. So this may be working for you in your 20s, but it doesn't work for you in your 30s, and then your 40s is a whole nother thing. So just be patient with your skin, leave room for growth, and understand that your skin changes with age and even between seasons. Just as our skin needs different things according to what season we're in or what area of life we are in, this stands true with our spiritual changes and cleansing necessities as well. Our spirit needs different types of cleansings depending upon where we are in life and what that stage is calling for. It's so crazy. I recently experienced this right before I started creating and releasing this podcast. About a month ago, I was feeling extremely overwhelmed, overworked, and just totally out of touch mentally and spiritually with myself. A lot of people know I do a lot of things, okay? Yes, I'm an esthetician. Yes, I run a successful spa, but I am also in the medical world. Being an esthetician has kind of led me to wanting to learn more about the medical side or the health history of a client, simply because it creates a bridge between the skin issue and the overall total healing of the person. So I like to get more into the medical world, or I keep my hand in the medical world, so that way I can have information from both the aesthetic side and the medical side, so I can fully help someone. But because of this, because I am an empath and I tend to give myself to people and then take on different energies, whether it be with a patient or with a client, this can become extremely draining for me. So about a month ago, I was working an assignment in Asheville at the Mission Hospital, and it was extremely draining dealing with the effects or the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. It's still hard. People are still going through stuff in Asheville and not getting adequate health care. And so I was just in a rough place. Mentally, I just felt like, something is off. And anytime I start feeling this way, I have to take a step back, because it means I am doing too much and I'm taking on too much energy. Because again, working in medical, I'm giving so much to my patients, and I'm putting my feelings aside, the feeling of being overworked and underpaid, but still trying to give quality care to a patient. It's hard. So then I come home and service my clients and teach them things about cleansing properly. That's a lot. So I have to learn, or I have had to learn, how to take a step back and really assess my own self, so that way I don't allow the overwhelmness of the blessings that I have received to then become a burden. Because nobody talks about that. Like with blessings, there's a fine line between embracing the blessing, but then becoming overwhelmed with the blessing. So for me, this calls for a spiritual cleanse. I have to completely step aside and allow God to speak to me. This is a learned thing. Like, I've had to truly dig deep into myself and really take a moment to just sit with myself to understand what this feeling is and what I need to do with it. Just like with my facial cleansing, I noticed during different seasons, I have to change it up. And I'm like, okay, let me be intentional with myself. Let me listen to what my skin is saying. But also with my spiritual realm, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm feeling a little bit depressed. I'm slipping. There is something wrong. And I need to check into this thing quick. So in this moment of feeling this way, I abruptly cut my contract with Asheville. I felt like it was just becoming too much and I had to make a choice. And of course, I'm going to always choose my business because I feel like that's my biggest blessing God has given me. So I don't want to take that for granted. But at the same time, I need to have a meeting in the ladies' room because, my God, what is going on here? Like, I think I have a plan, but the plan ain't planning. So let me go back and reassess some stuff. So what I have to do with my spiritual regimen, just like with my skincare regimen, let me assess it. Is it still working? If not, let me go in a corner and let me have a conversation with God. I am a firm believer in having my own relationship with God. And in that relationship, I have to set aside some time to really sit with God so I can clearly hear what is required of me. And I have to cleanse my spirit. So some of the things I like to do when I'm going through a spiritual cleansing or a spiritual ritual, I like to isolate myself because I have to be completely silent. I have to hear what God is saying to me, not necessarily just me not talking, but I need all the external noise to be quiet. Like, I'm a mom, I'm a soon-to-be wife, I'm an entrepreneur, but I got to tell everybody to shut up for a second. I have got to figure out what the hell is going on because I do not feel like myself. And if I do not get this under control, I'm going to lose control. And sometimes we do not pay that any attention, especially women who play these different roles. We feel like we have to give so much out and we do not replenish what we need to have in this season within ourselves. So one, I like to isolate myself and become completely silent. And I tell my fiance, hey, Montez. I call him Joe, but his real name is Montez. But anyway, I have to tell him, listen, I got to be quiet for a second because there is something moving in my spirit and I got to really hear God and hear where God is trying to take me on this journey. About a month ago, I was already working out and on my health kick, being consistent with that, but I really locked in. I was working out every day, going to the sauna. I was fasting. I only ate between 12 and 6. I'm still doing that, but again, life can take you by surprise sometimes, and I'm stressed. So I'm just like, Lord, give me a second. I need a piece of cake. No, but for real. But when I need to hear a word from God, I do like to fast because I believe in releasing toxins out of my body and just allowing my body to be in silence with itself. And I feel like we as a whole are a greedy population and we eat because it feels good. Instead of letting go of things that give us instant gratification, we tend to indulge in those in the moment of stress. I am guilty of that, but I am being more intentional with breaking that habit. I also write things down because I need clarity from God. Like, I need exact clarity. I don't need no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Like, I need clarity from you. And homeboy, I need you to come down here and sit beside me and tell me in my ear what you need me to do. And this is exactly how I talk to God. I don't play no games about it. I don't need nobody else giving me a message or me giving a message to somebody to give to God. I need direct communication with the man upstairs. I don't play about it, and I don't care what nobody else say. I don't have to be in a building to fellowship with God. I can be in a corner and say, God, I need you to step down here and tell me what you need to do, or what you want me to do. I'm silent, I'm fasting, I'm detoxing, and I'm alone with you. And I need you to tell me with a clear, concise voice what it is you want me to do. I also like to take spiritual baths, where I just absolutely embrace myself or immerse myself in herbal baths with candles and frequency music. And I just like to sit and just listen, because at some point, God is going to move. I have been through this before and I know what this is. So I have to just do what I need to do, sit in silence, do my little thing, and then get into my absolute spiritual bag. And then I wait. I did this for 3 weeks. I fasted, I worked out, I wrote, I was very intentional with my skincare and self-care regimen. And boom, I started writing one day. I was talking to God, and next thing I know, I'm writing a blog. And the next thing you know, I'm coming up with a name for the blog. And next thing you know, the blog turns into a podcast. And the next thing you know, I have a name for the podcast, which led me to Skintimacy. I don't care what you believe in. I know what I have done and what has been proven to be true to me. And anytime I feel like I am congested with gunk or energy or anxiety or anything like that, I have to go to a quiet place within myself and create a regimen that's working for me in that moment, so that way I can yield the result of what God's voice is saying to me. I have to remove myself out the way so that way I can submit fully and completely to God. And while doing that, I manifested what the next step of my life would be. And I completely submitted to it. And that's the trick. Like when you ask for these things, you have to be ready to let go of old habits or quote unquote old dead skin cells. You have to be willing to let that go so that you can embrace this new skin, if that makes sense. Like every season of your life calls for you to drop some dead skin cells and embrace the new skin and this newness of this new realm that you're in with God. So because now I'm 38 and my health, skincare, and spiritual well-being are at an all-time high, as I am now getting ready to go into a different decade of my life. So, you know, you have your 20s, your 30s, and your 40s. So I'm getting ready to enter into my 40s. My look and level of success has changed a bit. My kids are older. I am transitioning into being a wife, and I now have to figure out what stuff looks like to me now. So what I started doing back when I decided to quit my contract, I started diving deeper into my well-being, in my spiritual well-being, but I also started creating like a little skincare, spiritual type of ritual with myself. When I cleanse my face, I started doing mirror work and affirmations. So as I'm cleansing my face, or if I'm in the shower cleansing my body, I'm speaking life over myself. And I'm saying, as I cleanse my face, I release what no longer serves me. I make room for clarity, softness, and truth. I started saying this, and I am still saying this over and over to myself, because I'm in a place in my life, in my career, and everything else where I cannot afford to misstep. I can't afford to step outside of the will of God. I can't afford to do that, because every step that I have taken thus far came from the will of God. So now as I'm maturing and looking at things more with more clarity, I guess, I am not moving until I have that nudge from God. That nudge came to me in a form of stress and anxiety a month ago. I heard it, I felt it, I listened to it, And I said, don't ignore that, y'all. Like, please don't ignore the intuition, because God is working in that. When you hear that and you're intentional with yourself and you say, wait, okay, hold on. I have felt this before. Let me stop. Let me take a breath and let me just hear what God is saying, not what I'm feeling, because sometimes what we feel and what we see with our physical eyes will deter us from God's will. So when you feel that in your spirit, whether it be letting go of somebody or something, do it without hesitation, because when God steps in, he does not miss. But you have to be willing to submit, whether it's, a scary feeling to do that or not. You have to do it without hesitation, because that's when God releases the clarity for you and what your next step should be in your life. So I say, since cleanliness is next to godliness, why not merge the two worlds? Your self-care and your spiritual well-being. Your skin needs thoughtful, consistent cleansing, and your spirit needs intentional, loving cleansing as well. When you do both, you're not just practicing skincare, you're practicing self-reverence. So how about we enter into a little bit of a challenge? I love a good challenge. I am all for bettering myself and advancing to the next level. How about we start a cleansing challenge? For the next 7 days, commit to a cleansing ritual that feeds both your skin and your soul. And let's talk about it. Email me, comment on my social media. Tell me what you guys are committing to for the next 7 days that's going to feed your spirit and your skin. I want you guys to be better. I desire this for you as well as I desire it for myself. Even if you can't commit to a 7-day challenge, how about you start journaling and writing stuff down and making it plain, right? I feel like once we do that, once we take it from a thought to then writing it down, I feel like the universe and God shift. And at that point, we have a choice. And whether or not we step forward to the choice and the will of God, it's totally up to us. But at least we're writing it down and we're getting it out of our mind. And then we can make action if we choose to. With that being said, you guys, if today's episode resonated with you, please share with a friend who needs a spiritual or skincare reset. I hope this did something for you today. I hope it was informative as well as spiritually moving. Please connect with me on Instagram at Skintimacy Conversations for your daily dose of softness, skincare, and spiritual work. Thank you so much for joining me for this intimate conversation. Share your rituals, your reflections, or even your selfie post-cleanse using the hashtag Skintimacy Cleanse Challenge. Until next time, keep loving the skin and the soul you're in. I love you and stay skintimate.